Hello, guys, and welcome back to Star Wars Across the Galaxy. This is episode 3, and today we'll be ranking the people in Star Wars with the highest Midichlorian count. I'm Dayton, your host, and this is my friend and co host.
Malachi.
So let's get to it. First person I say we rank is Darth Plagueis. What about you? What do you think, Malachi?
That sounds good to me. So the format today is we grabbed 10 of the most powerful people with the highest midichlorians from all of Star Wars canon and legends, and are going to put them all on a tier list and try and figure out who has the highest and lowest midichlorian counts.
And we have Darth Revan, Emperor Vitiate, Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, Mace Windu, Emperor Palpatine, Yoda, Darth Malgus, Leia Organa, and Darth Plagueis.
This is going to be pretty controversial because there's not many exact counts except for Anakin. He's the only one we actually know. So all of this is speculative, and we'd love to hear your opinion.
Yes. So Darth Plagueis. I don't. So he is probably the lower of this list, but I think he is stronger than Darth Revan.
Uh, he might be. Yeah, I'm not
Cause
sure.
What was Revan's big thing? Why was he so powerful?
He was just he was just really strong. Like,
I think
you
it's
know,
also weird that he has one purple lightsaber and one red lightsaber.
because he was originally a Jedi, and when he was a Jedi, he used a purple lightsaber, but later he turned to become a Sith, which he then used a red lightsaber, and finally ended up becoming a Jedi again. So he was pretty indecisive, and he's often pictured with, red and purple to show he was switching back and forth a lot.
So how I think of him is he's a strong, probably one of the strongest force wielders on here. But the thing is, I don't think he was big on force healing, and a lot of these guys on here were.
Yeah, he couldn't like live for hundreds of years or resurrect himself from the dead. So I think it would be fair to put him in 10th,
Yes, same here. Okay,
just because of
now
how
Plagueis. I say he's a 9 or an 8. He's a 9 or an 8.
um who do we discuss him with? Like I think Revan
Darth
is fair to
Malgus.
put in
Darth
10th.
Malgus.
Um
He was. He wasn't big on force healing either. He was just
I
powerful.
honestly think that Plagueis and Yoda would be better. Hear me out, okay? Yoda, I don't think his midichlorian count was that high because he had 900 years to learn about the Force. 900. Whereas the average human only has like, 80. And the farther along they get in their life, their knowledge of the Force is more adept and you get better. But he had 900 years.
Yeah, and
And
Anakin
he
passed
didn't
him in
get
like 10 years. So,
Anakin past him. Yeah, exactly. So,
but he still has high midichlorian count because when he was showed up with Anakin Yoda, they go he has more midichlorians than Yoda, which shows he is more powerful.
uh-huh.
He is more powerful than Mace Windu, which is also on this list.
Mm,
Mace Windu was a
maybe.
good duelist, and he was able to use the dark and the light side, basically.
Maybe, yeah. But do we think Plagueis is above Windu? I think he is.
I think he is too.
Yeah, because Windu was very powerful, but he was a duelist. He was chiefly a duelist, so I don't think his midichlorians would be as high as someone like Plagueis.
Yeah, so I put him at 9 because Malgus, I think he's an 8
Malgus Prob, yeah, we can get to that in a second. Okay, so we
because
have Revan in
at
10th
the beginning we all
and
thought
Mace Windu
Plagueis
in
was
9th.
lower. So, huh.
Yeah, that's interesting. We had a little pre-discussion before this, and we're talking about what we thought would happen. All right, so who goes to number eight? Are we thinking Plagueis
I'm thinking
or
Malgus. Well, okay. This is
yeah?
gonna
But
be. This is
here's
hard.
the reason I think
Malgus.
Malgus
Malgus.
was very.
Go on.
I think Malgus was like really his midichlorian count was a lot higher because of the way he can manipulate the Jedi, like almost on a Dark Dimension Vader level. Because you see, when Dark Dimension Vader goes and attacks, like the dark, oh my goodness, the dark side of the Force was so strong with him, it like blinded the Jedi's Force. And the same was kind of true with Malchus. That's why he was able to go through and just wipe out so many so quickly because the Force was like nullified and blinded. So I think Malchus would be ahead of Plagueis.
I guess.
And Dayton's a big Malgus fanboy. So
Yeah, I really like him. So you think Plagueis is better than Malgus?
I think Malgus is better than Plagueis.
Sorry, I blacked out for a second. Um, well, cause Malgus had a bigger impact on the way on like his time.
Hmm.
Yeah, I say Plagueis actually is 8.
So in number eight, we have Darth Plagueis. How do you say it? I don't know. Do you say it
It's
Plagueis or
Plagueis.
Plagueis? Is it
Plagueis.
Plagueis?
I
I
say
always forget how
Plagueis.
Sidious says it in Revenge of the Sith.
I think he says, "Have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?"
The voice acting's 10 out of 10.
Thank you, Link. Okay, so 7. I guess Malgus, right?
Okay.
Malgus,
Yeah, I'm thinking that Darth Malgus will go in seventh.
because he had a big impact. He is really strong with the Force, but not good enough, honestly. And also, wasn't Malgus's
Now,
backstory? Wasn't he a kid and he got abducted into the Sith Order?
I'm not sure. I don't know that. I don't know as much about him as you do, I don't think. So I would trust that if you think that is what happened.
I think. Okay, 6. Here's also a big topic to discuss, a controversial a little bit. Leia. She wasn't
Yeah,
seen with a lot of force potential. I mean, with a lot of force ability, but she has a lot of force potential.
yeah, I think midichlorian wise, as far as she was extremely far from her full potential.
Yes. So every time
So
midichlorians, because this is hard because we're talking about we're talking about midichlorians, not about what actually happened. Malgus, he his impact should be like number 2 or number 3 or 4 on this list. But
yes, but we're not
midichlorian,
judging. We're
yeah,
judging it by midichlorian, which is
nobody
essentially
expected.
what the being's force potential was.
Yeah, because nobody expected Malgus to be that powerful, but he was.
Uh-huh.
Which is also why we had to put him high, because he was just really powerful.
Okay, I'm thinking I want to swap two already. I'm
Yeah,
second guessing. Um,
same.
I'm thinking I want to swap Mace Windu and Revan,
Why? Actually, yes, I agree.
just because Revan was so strong. Yeah, we need. I think we need to move those.
I agree.
Are you switching them?
Yeah, I switched them. Okay,
Okay.
6. Oh my, I just realized something. So, 3, so we have a Jedi and then just regular Sith. So far, and then Mace Windu, he was on the verge of Sith and Jedi, I feel like, you know?
And Revan was too. Revan started out as a Jedi, then became a Sith, then became a Jedi.
So all these guys are basically Sith.
Pretty much so far, yes.
We only
And
have like 3. So
a
Anakin
good
was kind
portion
of
of them
a
to come.
Anakin, full potential Anakin is basically not Darth Vader because
Yeah,
Darth Vader is less powerful, I feel like.
we'll get to full potential or Anakin in a minute.
Oh, and also see our first episode ranking all the forms of Anakin.
If you want to know a bit more about him,
Yeah.
which
Well, right now Anakin
everyone loves
Skywalker.
Anakin, right?
Yeah, I love him. I also have a nice Anakin edit you should try out too.
And the five said it.
Yeah, but I think
Anyway, back on topic.
Anakin's full potential Midichlorian count is way higher, but we're talking about him later. Anyway,
So who you thinking?
this is hard. Palpatine or Yoda?
Yep, that's what I was coming down to.
People say
Um,
Palpatine is probably either one of the or the strongest Sith ever, but they're not counting Jedi. So
that is because George Lucas made a statement that said, as you go through history, the Sith and Jedi only got more powerful. But Legends kind of said, no, they didn't,
they got
because
less powerful.
they kind of kept them the same and kind of switched their abilities. Like you see those the older legends like Vitiate, Nihilus, and people like them could drain planets of life, and modern Sith can't do that. But they also, like Nihilus, couldn't heal himself. Vitiate couldn't heal himself. Vitiate was just immortal.
Yeah.
So I feel like the abilities shifted as you get to more modern times,
Yeah, and
and they
also
didn't really get more powerful.
George Lucas kind of created. He created Star Wars, of course, but like the Legends, I don't think he was big into like the Sith powers and stuff. So that's also why he said that too.
I
And
don't think he knew, honestly. I don't think he knew much about Legends.
well, I just want to say this right now. So how he said as the years go on, the Sith get more powerful. That can't be farther from the truth. Kylo Ren is nowhere near Darth Vader or Palpatine,
Yeah,
or Snoke is not even close. Honestly, I feel like so Anakin's children are less powerful than him because the Midichlorians lose its potential when they're transferred, basically.
yeah.
So I feel
So
like
anyway,
the
let's
first ever Jedi is probably the most powerful Jedi ever, in my opinion. Well, actually, not counting Anakin,
maybe.
because the Midichlorians, to give them to your kid, they basically lose some because they're not as powerful. Because the main reason like people are powerful because their parents, both of them, were powerful. That's why Anakin's children weren't as powerful as him because Padme wasn't strong with the
Yeah.
Force. Even though some people might say that, Padme was not even near a Force sensitive. Right? Didn't you
So
want to discuss that, Malachi, a little bit about
yes,
Padme?
so I wanted to outright say in the beginning, but I forgot that we are not counting Padme in this list. Because I know some people recently have said because she carried Luke and Leia at the same time, assuming they both had about a 20,000 midichlorian count, that she technically had the highest in Star Wars because that would put her around 40,000, assuming that she had zero midichlorian count herself.
Well, she was probably one of the most powerful non-Force sensitive people because she carried him. But
I
also,
mean, she
Anakin is the
was
reason why.
she was slightly force sensitive. Like you could see in Revenge of the Sith when Anakin's going and killing the younglings. You could see like the look of sadness on her face because she's like kind of knew something bad was happening.
And when Obi-Wan delivered the news to her, she didn't believe it at first, but realized it was right.
Yeah. So I mean, she was slightly force sensitive, we know, but not near enough to get on this list.
Yes.
Just not counting her carrying Luke and Leia. Now, sixth place. I think it's Yoda,
Yes.
just because he and I think Palpatine didn't have near as much time to discover about the Force as Yoda did. So I think Palpatine goes in.
Well, Palpatine.
Or Yoda rather. Yoda goes in six.
Well, Palpatine had a bigger impact too. And honestly, Palpatine never showed how powerful he was, but and Yoda did. So, but
Hmm.
Yoda would have beaten Palpatine if it weren't for the Senate chambers. I feel like because the only reason he lost because Palpatine kept flinging stuff at Yoda.
Yeah,
So I really don't know.
maybe, but he still has so much more time. So I really do think it's Yoda in number six.
Okay, and then 5 is Palpatine.
And also, let us know what you guys want to see because we're not very creative people and can't think of a lot of topics. So if there's a specific thing you want to see in the next podcast, then let us know and we'll do it.
Because we have like
Most
three,
likely.
we have like three more ideas, and then we're out. And every season has 5 episodes, so we have enough to get us through the season.
Number five is going to be
Palpatine, and then four
Luke.
we go
Or,
Leia or Vitiate.
yep, number four is going to be Leia. I would support that.
I feel like as we get higher, it's easier to rank them because the lower
Yeah.
ones are just I don't
Obviously,
honestly don't
we
because
know who number one's going to be, and then it's figuring out. All right,
the
so
lower ones are just not we don't know as much about them. Because Leia, she had the same potential as Luke, but didn't show it. But also
uh-huh.
Vitiate, I think Leia might be stronger than Vitiate now that I think about it because
Uh,
her potential. Because Vitiate could swap his consciousness between people, and his midichlorian count was unbelievably high.
so in Legends, there is a rough estimate that Vitiate was 20,000, roughly. Anakin was 25. Um, I don't know what Luke and Leia
Well, you
would
said
be
they're around
exactly.
20,000.
Like 21, I think is the number said in Legends, if I remember correctly.
And oh yeah, yes.
And Luke and Leia would have been roughly in that range.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah,
think
and
that
then
at some point, I think that we're going to say their midichlorians are tied, and then we got to go with who is more powerful, almost. Because it's really hard when you don't have exact numbers.
yeah, because like at the bottom we kind of do, kind of don't. It's just hard.
Uh-huh. I think we actually did a pretty good job at the bottom. It looks
I think
good.
so too.
Um, so I put Leia in fourth. I think Leia fourth and Vitiate third.
Leia fourth and Vitiate, I think so too, because Vitiate he could basically keep himself alive forever, and he showed more potential than Leia, even though I
Yeah,
honestly they're about the same.
they
But
may
so
have been, but
didn't
we know
Vitiate
for a
have
fact
kids?
Vitiate was.
Huh?
They may have been like the exact same, but we know for a fact that Vitiate was.
Yeah, because didn't Vitiate also have kids?
Uh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he did, but I don't think they were as powerful as him.
Yeah, probably not, and he probably killed him.
Maybe they should have been on this list. Actually, no. I
Uh,
don't know if they.
anyway, probably not. Like, I thought about saying something about like Jason Solo, but I don't know near enough about like any
Who?
characters after Yaman. Jason Solo. Do you know who that is?
No.
So, the Solos had multiple more kids and legends, and there's all kinds of different stuff like that. But
They only had Kylo
no, they had more.
and Legends, not actual canon.
Well, in canon, yes, they only had Kylo, but in Legends, it got expanded a bit. Anyway, we know who number two is going to be. It is going to be Luke Skywalker.
Because
And we know
he
who
basically brought
number
balance to the
one
Force
is
too.
going to be.
Anakin Skywalker.
The chosen one.
Well,
Well,
that kind of
I,
wrapped things up. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Oh, shout out to Hoover Games slash Hoover Consoles for helping make thumbnails and supporting this channel with ideas. We have an episode coming up about ranking the Star Wars games. I'm gonna try to get him in that one, so you will see him there. Check him out too. As always, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.